Are you a project manager in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry looking to improve your PM skills? Or maybe you are the leader in a firm and you're looking to develop your PMs across your organization. Well, you've come to the right place. In this episode, I have with me Matthew Douglas. Matt is one of our PM instructors at EMI. He is also running our new Learning and Development Lab initiative, which is focused on understanding how professionals in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry learn, how they digest information and improve their skills. You see, in the world we live in today, everyone learns differently. So if you want to get the most out of your development efforts, you need to understand how your PMs want to be taught. And so in this episode, Matt's going to talk through some of the findings of the research of the lab. We're also going to talk about some of the things that we've learned by just conducting development programs for AEC firms with over 1,000 project managers over the last few years. And so if you're here to upgrade your PM skills, or you want to think about how you can develop PMs across your organization, because after all, they are the cash flow engines of your business, well, then you come to the right place. Let's dig in. All right, so today we're diving into a topic that we're passionate about at the Engineering Management Institute, the science of learning in both the AEC industry and, of course, in project management in general. This is something that I focused on for a lot of years. Matt's been with us now at EMI for a while. He's been very focused on it with us. And we kind of want to kick off here by really getting into the science of it, right? The science of learning in the AEC industry. Our experience in PM training and learning and development has really given us some unique insights into how professionals in this field absorb information and retain information. And really the key takeaway that we found is that there are just a lot of diverse learning styles in our industry, from, visual learners, right? Those who really want hands-on experience. But we've also found that just understanding these different learning styles is really only the first step, because the real challenge lies in trying to leverage this knowledge to then create training, or as we like to call them, learning and development programs that not only kind of educate, but they also can engage and inspire your project managers. It's about kind of creating this learning experience that really resonates and sticks. And most importantly, it translates back into real world application. Like, we actually want them to get better at project management and be better project managers on their projects. We cannot lose sight of that. And, Matt, you've been heading up our new initiative at EMI, our Learning and Development Lab. And that's an initiative that's really focused on understanding how AEC professionals learn. We're going to be publishing quarterly newsletters through the lab, and they're going to contain a lot of L&D insights. We have a new group on LinkedIn just for the Learning and Development Lab, and all of this can be found at EMIlearninglab.com if you're interested in kind of following along. And Matt, through some of the early research from the lab and the work that we've done, of course, providing training to over 1,000 AEC PMs in the past year, we're really finding that one of the biggest drivers of real learning is follow-up to these programs, or the reinforcement kind of after the fact. And just to give a quick story on my own experience, when I was kind of a young PM in my consulting career, my firm used to send me to the PM boot camps, right? You go to a hotel for a day or a weekend, you get a bunch of information about project management and the process groups and how to do a work breakdown schedule and scoping and budgeting. And it's kind of like a little bit of a deer in the headlights, or like, information overload, right? You have all this information that you get. At that time, they were giving me a binder. Now they give you a PDF. And then you go back to your projects and there's really no time to digest or implement any of the information that we learned through those programs. And so, Matt, maybe you could talk a little bit about kind of the importance of reinforcement after the actual learning programs.
Yeah, sure, Anthony. So early returns on our work at the L&D lab have been really interesting, to say the least, but let's just talk about the cornerstone of effective learning, which is reinforcement. Now, it's a concept that's as old as learning itself, but it's often overlooked in personal settings. And in project management, where the stakes are high and the projects are complex, reinforcement isn't just beneficial, it's really essential. And we've seen that with pretty much every one of our clients, that through our PM training initiatives, that we've identified strategies that significantly boost learning retention between all the individuals that are taking our courses. So these include periodic review sessions to review what was previously taught. It also includes real life applications, real world application exercises. So for example, if we teach about a work breakdown structure, our program participants need to build one during the course, and then preferably for one of their real projects, and also mentorship programs and opportunities. So what's the goal of these reinforcement initiatives? So our goal with this is primarily to ensure that once a concept is learned, that it's never forgotten. And to Anthony's earlier point about boot camps, learning cannot be one and done.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the key to me. And you said it perfectly. Learning cannot be a one and done situation. I think we've gotten into a situation where we were programmed in this engineering AEC industry that, I'm going to a webinar, I'm going to watch the webinar, and then I'm done with the webinar, which means I'm going to training and I'm turning my brain on, I'm watching it, and then I'm turning my brain off and I'm done with training. But that's not a realistic thing, because you don't become a better project manager in 90 minutes or in a day or whatever the case may be. It's continuous improvement, really, quite frankly, over the lifetime of, your project management career. And I mean, like, going back to Matt's point, what we try to do in our programs and what everybody should do, if maybe you run internal programs in your firm, teach it, have them practice it. That's the whole key. We tell all of the participants in our programs that learning without that follow-up reinforcement means you won't learn anything at all. And that's something that we've been focused on for years, and we're going to continue to kind of drive that point home. And I want to dig a little bit deeper on reinforcement here, and I want to talk about actually one of the new services that we're launching at EMI to specifically help project managers learn consistently. And when I say that, when you think about project management, think about the life cycle of a project manager. Maybe you start off as a team member and you're learning about project management. Then you get promoted to an assistant PM or a task manager, and you're starting to do some light project management. Then you get promoted to an actual project manager. Then maybe one day you're a senior project manager. And so this is your life cycle as a project manager, but you need to learn at every level of that life cycle. You can't just get training when you become a project manager, and that's all you get for 10 years. And we hear that all the time when we work with firms and we do our initial intake and interviews. When's the last time you had training? Oh, 10 years ago when I became a PM. I mean, that's just unacceptable, right? Because things have changed in our industry. You've changed. You need to upgrade your skills. And so the new service that we've created, it's called PM Assist, and we launched it later last year. And it's really our latest endeavor to kind of revolutionize project management, learning, and development. And PM Assist is not just a tool. We kind of see it as a game changer that's designed to kind of bridge the gap between the learning and the doing, which is exactly what Matt and I have been talking about. So picture this. As a project manager, you attend the training program, and when it's done, you go back to your job and your projects, and you're tasked on your own with trying to implement what you've learned. Well, with PM Assist, instead of being on your own, you're going to receive short videos on a regular basis that help you to reinforce what you learned during the live course, which will make it easier for you to implement these new skills, essentially assisting you, as the name suggests. This is kind of a suite of carefully curated videos, resources, things that you can access anytime, anywhere. And this is not something that is generic. In a lot of ways, if we're building one for your firm, it's custom to some of your firm's practices. And, each one of these videos is crafted to reinforce a key project management concept and offer up some practical tips in real world scenarios that really bring the learning to life, right? That's what real learning is about. It has to be something that's applicable, has to be something that's real, and it has to be something that's useful. And to take it one step further, PM Assist is actually going to be part of our new certification process for our new AEC PM certification, which we're really excited about. You can kind of think of a PMP, but specifically for AEC professionals. And the certification is going to include an actual PM behavioral assessment that we built with a recognized company. It's going to include attendance at one of our courses, either our general foundations course or a custom course that maybe we've built for your firm. It's going to have those reinforcement videos, going to have regular PM PDH webinars throughout the year. And you can learn more about our certification at aecpm.com. Again, we're just really excited about it because the idea behind the certification is that we want you to learn about project management in the AEC industry, but we also want you to continue to grow and get refreshers about it. We don't want this, the last time I had training was 10 years ago, because that doesn't help anyone. And one more thing I just want to mention is that when it comes to learning, I just want to mention the importance of one's manager in helping them to reinforce the learning. And Matt, I know you've learned a lot about this through some of our initiatives. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of someone's manager in learning and development?
Yeah, sure, Anthony. Well, first things first, we just can't learn alone. Like, that's just a simple fact. We need support from other people around us, especially our managers. In fact, when we build a basic or a foundational project management course for our firms, we require that all of their project managers start with that course, even the most experienced ones, so that they can guide and mentor the younger PMs on what we are actually teaching. So if they don't know it, how can they actually enforce that? And our PM Assist services recognizes the pivotal role of managers in the developmental process. The PM Assist videos can be sent to not only the learners, but to their managers as well. By providing managers with these resources, we empower them to support their teams more effectively. We also are fostering an environment where continuous improvement is not just encouraged, but is expected. So imagine a world where every project manager has the tools that they need to succeed, and every PM's manager has the resources to guide and support them as well along the journey. That's the world that our new AEC PM certification, along with our PM Assist program, this is what we're aiming to create. So, Anthony, do you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, and I just want to kind of reinforce a couple things there, because we're actually working with a client right now where they have about 300 PMs. So it's a big project, and they want to train them all over a couple of years. So we're building a custom program to do that. We started by building their foundational program, like Matt suggests. But what we asked them is, we're building a foundational program, but we want all of your PMs to go through that first, even someone who's been a PM for 20 years. And the reason that we do that is because, number one, a lot of times when we build a program for a company, and you may do this internally, so you can glean from what we're saying here and use it on your internal programs, you're trying to build a consistent language around project management, right? It's its own language, and you want every PM in the firm to speak that language. So if your experienced PMs don't go through that basic program and you just start with your younger PMs or inexperienced PMs, they don't see the language that we're teaching the younger PMs, so they can't reinforce it, to Matt's point. So that's a big fail for a lot of firms. They don't want to maybe invest a little extra money to start all their PMs at that foundations. And I think it's just, saving a little money, but hurting you in the long term. So that I want to mention. And the second reason that this is so important is because how can you really expect them to reinforce it long term if they don't know it again, right? So, you need them to learn this program inside and out, or else they're not going to be able to reinforce it. And I can't really stress that enough, because it's just something that so many firms don't do well. They don't start at the top with this training, even the foundational training. And, it's coming back to really haunt them in the long run. So I would really encourage you to, start with the basics. And the other thing that I'll say about it, from my experience from doing this for a long time, those senior PMs, they need to be refreshed, because most likely they haven't had the training in a very long time, and they're not sharp in all those different areas or different process groups. So a lot of times I tell our clients, when you approach a senior PM and you ask them to go through a foundational program, you're going to ask them because you want to explain to them that you need them to learn the basic language so that they can communicate and reinforce it. But really, at the end of the day, we know that they're going to learn something too. And I think that that's something that, we need to remember. Yeah. It's a tough thing, Matt, to ask someone who's very senior to take a basic course. So that's something just to keep in mind. All right. So I know this was a shorter episode today, but we hope that the episode is really a testament to EMI's commitment to not just help you navigate the world of project management, but to transform it, right, through the power of learning. So we appreciate you as listeners, and we ask you to please continue to stay tuned for more insights and just continue to keep leading and innovating as project managers, because by doing that, you're going to be the absolute best PM that you can be. And we hope to help you with that. And just remember that if you're interested in checking out our Learning Lab, where we're going to be publishing, quarterly newsletters about how AEC professionals learn, you can check that out at emilearninglab.com. And if you want to learn a little bit more about our AEC PM certification, you can also check that out at aecpm.com. So thanks again, and we're going to come back and just wrap this up in just a minute. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Matt. We really wanted to focus on helping you learn how to upgrade your own PM skills or those of the PMs across your firm. And we've learned a lot the last few years by conducting these programs with over 1,000 PMs, and we hope that you can learn from what we talked about today. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider subscribing to our channel. We put out videos like this on a weekly basis to help engineers become better managers and leaders. I'll see you next week.